Hello, my name is Jason Lupton, and this is my Week 6 assignment for FTE 217. Today's date is December 7th, 2025. Alright, so the first thing that we're going to do is ensure that our firearm is safe and clear. Starting off with no ammunition in my workspace, none at all. We're going to check to make sure the firearm is on safe. It is. Pointed in a safe direction, keeping our finger away from the trigger. We're going to go ahead and lock our bolt to the rear. Now we're going to visually and physically inspect the chamber to make sure that there's no ammunition present. This weapon is clear. We're ready to continue. For the first part of this assignment, we are going to be field stripping the rifle. So that begins with popping out our pivot and our takedown pin. And then that separates our upper and lower receiver. Now we can go ahead and pull out our bolt carrier group. Next we can take the firing pin retaining pin out of our bolt carrier. Take our firing pin out, take our cam pin out. Take our bolt out. Upper receiver is taken down. Now we'll take apart our lower receiver, and all that is taking out our buffer and buffer spring. Firearm is field stripped, and now we'll put it back together. And that was the field stripping and reassembly of the LR-308. For part 2 of this assignment, we're supposed to talk about upgrades that we want to do to the rifle. And I've already done a few things. The standard A2 buttstock and carbine buffer tube and buffer were sent with this project, but I wanted to go to a fixed stock. So this one has a rifle buffer and buffer spring and tube along with this fixed stock here. This is from Luth Arms. Next, I did switch out the pistol grip. So the one that came with it actually isn't bad. This is a mil-spec pistol grip, but I like the feel of it actually, and I may use that for a future project. But I put on this Luth Arms pistol grip, and I'm not really digging it. So last week I picked up a Kung Fu grip from Die Free Company, and I'm gonna put that on there probably this week and see how I like it. The main problem I had with the Luth Arms pistol grip is it interferes with my ability to switch from safe to fire. It's just not fun. Another thing that I changed out was the bolt catch. I switched to an ambidextrous bolt catch so that I didn't have to reach over to push it in to let the bolts slide forward on the next round. Or on the first round. So yeah, I switched to that. I do that pretty much to all my rifles. Another thing that I changed out was the standard A2 bird cage. I switched to a King comp. Let's see if I can get you a better view on that. I wanted to a good compensator. I'm not sure how well this one's going to do. I actually have not fired the rifle yet, but we're going to give it a shot. And if not, I eventually intend to put a suppressor on the end of this just to see how it does. Other than that, I added a cheap bipod for now. Eventually I'm going to probably go to an Arca rail, and we'll see how it goes from there. But so cheap bipod, I put a Monstrum one-piece quick detach scope mount, and the West Hunter scope that was sent with the previous course. So I like that setup a lot. I may end up moving to something a little bit more expensive later, but right now, not. Other than that, things that I want to do. So for me, my gas block's already dimpled, so I don't really have to worry about that. Once I do my testing and everything, and as long as it's set up the way I want it, I'm gonna go ahead and Loctite it in place. Other than that, simple things, I may end up doing a trigger change. I like the mil-spec triggers, they're reliable, but I do want something with a little more. I think I'm gonna end up moving to a two-stage trigger, a two-stage in the same style. But I'm gonna look into that. Other than that, the only thing that I have left to do is I'm going to hydro dip the rifle. I didn't get the kit before the class started, but as soon as he comes in, that's my next project. So that's what I plan to do with my rifle for now. Other than that, it's functional and ready to be test fired. For part 3 of this assignment, we're asked to discuss different types of triggers and what they offer. So I looked at a few different options. So let's start with the types of different triggers there are. So you have your cartridge triggers. So these are basically, you drop them in, put 2 pins in. You don't have to worry about trigger springs and hammer springs and stuff like that. Literally just a little cartridge. You just drop it in, put your pins in, you're good to go. While those seem to be pretty popular these days, they're not always so reliable. So for a precision build, they might be something that you could look into. But me, I'm more looking for a DMR, designated marksmanship rifle. So I want something that's going to be duty rated. So my choice for triggers that I'm going to look into is going to be like this LR tactical that I found on the Primary Arms blog titled Choosing the Best Trigger for a Precision AR-10. Then this was posted August 24th, 2025. So the LR Tactical MBT-2S trigger is a 2-stage trigger, and that's kind of what I want. I want a duty-rated 2-stage trigger. It's a 4.5 pound pull with a 2 pound pull, or 2.5 pound pull in the first stage and a 2 pound pull in the second stage. 4.5 pounds is right about the bottom limit of where I want to go for a duty style rifle. But it is still a mil-spec style. It has the standard hammer spring and trigger spring. The only difference is the disconnector is different, and the sear on the hammer is different. The hammer itself, instead of being that curved hook, it's a flat perpendicular hammer. Other than that, the biggest concern with triggers is safety. Too light of a trigger and you can almost breathe on it and it'll go off. That is okay for somebody who's doing bench shooting. But for anybody that's going to be using the rifle out in the field, say they're hunting or doing a 3-gun or 2-gun challenge, you don't want to have that light of a trigger in your rifle. So for right now, I think either the LR Tactical or the Geisley trigger systems would be the best options for my setup. Part 4 of this assignment asks us if we plan to dimple our rifle barrel for the gas block. And luckily mine's already dimpled, so I'm going to leave it at that. I have not Loctited the screws from my gas block yet. Until I get the rifle tuned and ready to go, I do not plan to do that. Once it's tuned, throw that Loctite on there and set the screws, torque them in, and it'll be good to go. So for right now, I don't have to worry about dimpling my barrel. It's a Palmetto barrel, and it was already dimpled from the factory. All right, for part 5, we did this in a previous video, but we're going to go ahead and do it again. So we want to do a drop test on this rifle. So first thing that we're going to do is grab our rubber mallet, and with the firearm on safe, we're going to tap in a few different places. And while we're tapping, we're listening for the hammer falling. That would indicate this rifle does not pass a drop test. So now with the firearm we're safe, now we're gonna pull our trigger and it should not fall. So now we're gonna do the exact same thing but on fire. So we're going to go from safe to semi, do the same tap test. And again, the hammer did not fall. So now we're gonna go back to safe. We're gonna go from about 8 inches. And we're gonna drop it. All right, now I did not hear the hammer fall. One way we can check is move from safe to safe to fire. We're gonna point in a safe direction, pull our trigger. We hear the click, so the sear held. Now we're gonna charge it. Now we're gonna leave it on fire this time, do the exact same thing. About 8 inches up. And I did not hear the hammer fall. Yep, good to go. So this rifle passes the drop test. So that's all I have for this assignment. We look forward to the next week.